Hello everybody, my name is Graham Elwood. You're watching The Political Vigilante. Shape your knuckles for justice. So, we're in May. There's rent strikes happening, worker strikes, but the corporate media, the thing they've been focusing on is the right to work strikes. Protests draw thousands over safe stay-at-home orders during coronavirus pandemic. This is in USA Today, right? This was a couple weeks ago. But they want to show, look at these crazy Trump people. And yeah, it's a lot of Trump people. And what people should do is go to them and say, hey, I'm down with your protesting, but join us in a general strike. Join us in a general strike. Because here's what just happened May 1st. The second month now of people being told, a lot of people not working, not making money, unable to pay their rent. With millions unable to pay for housing next month, organizers plan the largest rent strike in nearly a century. This was April 25th. This is from Natasha Leonard in The Intercept. But wait a minute. Everybody started striking. The corporate media isn't really talking about it. This is the big story that just happened on Friday. All these rent strikes all over the country, all of these worker strikes, Amazon, Target, all of these strikes. But all the media shows you is like people in Trump hats and guns protesting. Now, there's a valid story to cover in the sense that they were all white people and the cops kind of let them get away with shit. And if a bunch of black people showed up that way, or Latinos, or both, the cops would be really violent, which is absolutely true. And that's a great point to bring up. But they're not talking about all these people all over the country can't pay their bills. The press focused disproportionately attention on the few hundred white reactionaries in a small number of states rallying against social distancing measures. That's the other thing. It wasn't that many people. But USA Today says thousands. It's an outrage. No. It's a handful of people protesting the stay-at-home orders. And when a bunch of them get sick and have to be hospitalized and some of them die, that'll end. But people are going to continue to not be able to pay their rent. We've only had 2 months of paying rent in a pandemic. April 1st and May 1st. That's only 2. This is going to keep going. What happens over the summer? We try to bring the economy back. There's going to be a spike in what's going to happen? At least 400 families who live in buildings, each containing over 1,500 rent units, are coordinating building-wide rent strikes. This is in New York City. Additionally, 500 have committed through an online pledge to refuse to pay rent in May. That's already happening. Here's an organized rent strike in Los Angeles.
We're out here today because we have been on a rent strike for 30 days. We began the rent strike on April 1st. Tomorrow is May 1st. Mayor Garcetti, LA City Council, Governor Newsom, they still have done nothing for tenants.
As California enters its second full month under stay-at-home orders, more and more tenants are turning their personal economic situations into mass protests. They're demanding that legislators at all levels of government pass laws to cancel rent until the public health crisis is over.
On their daily reports, they give us a lot of info about how many more cases of COVID there are, how many more people are dying, but they're not talking about how they're going to help tenants stay in their home. Evictions have been postponed, but the debt hasn't.
This woman just said, evictions have been postponed, but the debt hasn't. This is a valid point. Evictions are postponed, but that means you can't get evicted now. But if you can't pay your rent for 2, 3, 4, 5 months, you're going to then owe 5 months of back rent. How in the hell is anyone going to be able to pay that off? You haven't worked for 5 months. That's why you couldn't pay rent. And now you have to pay a lump sum of... What? What they're protesting, this is Los Angeles, and what they were doing in New York and other cities across America that the mainstream media largely is bypassing. They're asking Mayor Garcetti in Los Angeles and Governor Gavin Newsom, where is our money? The federal government should have done what Venezuela, that evil socialist government, paid everybody's rent for. You either got to, the federal government has to come in and say, we're going to pay your rent, or do what like Australia and Canada does and goes, here's $4,000 a month, $3-4 grand a month or whatever. There, pay your bill, stay home. There'd be a lot less people protesting, I guarantee you. If everybody's like, oh, you're getting free health care, we're freezing your rent, we're giving you $2,000 a month in UBI, or some version of that. Either if you're not going to freeze rent, then give everybody $4 or $5 grand a month to pay their bills. And the average rent in New York City is $2,800. Los Angeles is something like $2 grand for a 1-bedroom apartment. The fuck is $1,200 going to do?
Every month, we're accumulating more and more and more debt. So there's no way we're going to be able to repay that back.
They're calling it a rent strike, and it's just one tactic marking a dramatic new escalation in the long-running fight over affordable housing in California. Even before the pandemic, more than 9 million tenants, which is more than half of those in the state, were burdened by high rents.
What they just said, before the pandemic, there was over 9 million people in the state of California that were burdened by too high of rent. Not to mention California has some of the highest population of homeless people, which has only gotten worse in the last month and a half during this pandemic.
More than 30% of their income's on housing. But now, with many businesses shut down and unemployment rolls exploding, the coronavirus has injected a new level of fear and desperation into that fight.
Businesses are not going to give us any raises. Those of us who are lucky enough to get our jobs back may not get them back full time. So we're going to be saddled with debt that we're not going to be able to repay, and then eventually we're going to end up losing our home. So we are out here today to demand that the city, the state, and the federal government cancel the rents. We need rent cancellation.
On Thursday, the Los Angeles Tenants Union held a demonstration downtown. They're arguing that the eviction protections approved by the city don't come close to what tenants need during the pandemic.
If we don't get rent cancellation, you're going to see a lot more people on the streets in about 6 months' time, because they're not going to be able to repay back any repayment agreements or back rent, and so then they're going to be evicted, or we're going to be evicted. And so what we really need is to have the rents canceled, so that then we're not worrying about saving every single penny to pay back the rent. Instead, we're able to start spending it back in the market. And so that's really the best solution for the economy and to get things back up and running again.
That's the greatest point she brings up. We need to cancel rent, because if you're just postponing paying it and you go 5-6 months without working, and what's the job market going to look like once the economy comes back on? It's not going to just, they're not going to just turn it on. Oh, the economy, everybody's working, everyone's making great salaries and getting raises. No way. Companies are going to be like, just think of a restaurant that's been closed and maybe is only doing takeout business. And then they open it up. They're going to say, oh, you can only seat 25% of your tables. Everyone's got to spread out. Your waiters got to have gloves, and that means they're cutting 25% of their staff, or 75% of their staff, and only having 25% of their staff. If they're only at 25% capacity, that means they're only generating roughly 25% income. Anyone that's been laid off or furloughed or whatever, they're not air travel, live events, what I do, none of these things are going to come back full throttle. It's going to take 12 to 24 months for this to come back. And you're going to tell someone, oh, they have 5-6 months of not paying their rent or their mortgage, and this is what I've been talking about. This is deliberate. They're going to swoop in and steal your home and steal. And just think, like, if you're just like, you own a little 4 or 5 bedroom, 4 or 5 unit apartment building, and that's like a revenue generator for you. You're not some big conglomerate that owns a bunch of property, but you made some money, you invested in an apartment complex or whatever. You're gonna get evicted. You're gonna go through foreclosure, and the banks, who just got $4.25 trillion, are gonna come in and buy it from you. That's how they stole my house and 6 million people's other houses 10 years ago during the housing crisis, and that's what they're setting up to do now. That's why these rent strikes are important. And they're not. The thing I love about this, they're not asking for just give us a little break. She's like, cancel rent. This is what it's going to take. Bold, nonviolent resistance. Cancel rent. Because, and the ruling class knows this, more people are going to, I'm already seeing more for rent and for lease signs and for sale signs in my neighborhood. And that's going to, in the next couple weeks in May, that's going to get worse and worse. Just look around your neighborhood. Look and see what you see. I have a lot of apartment complexes, a lot of condo complexes, and some single family homes. And I'm already seeing more of that. So, what are they going to do? And who can we count on? And the mainstream media is covering it like, this is on NBC's Online, but NBC isn't really covering this. Survival Tenants, landlords brace for largest rent strike in decades. If banks are getting bailed out and corporations are getting bailed out, why aren't poor people getting bailed out? One activist asked. But this is NBC Online. This is NBC.com. This isn't their nightly news, their primetime show. And then we see this nonsense. AOC, people aren't striking because they don't feel like paying rent. They're striking because they can't pay rent. Well, that's true, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Why then did you vote? Right? There's no record of we don't have, because they did that hidden vote for the stimulus. Or you could just call it in or whatever, that thing that usually is just for like the naming of a post office because it's nothing significant. So they use that thing so she can, and it claims, according to one website, she said on Democracy Now! That, yeah, but she didn't vote for it. I mean, she did vote for it. She claims she didn't, but she did. It's a scam. How do I feel like, do we know that we can trust AOC? Am I being too hard on our progressive hero? No, I'm going on her track record. July 31st, 2019, AOC follows Pelosi Trump's lead by voting big bucks for military. Last Thursday, the House of Representatives passed legislation that will, once signed into law, set one of the highest caps ever on the discretionary budget for the Pentagon and related programs. The Democratic Party that now controls the House voted by a vast majority in favor of the bill. Remarkably, so did AOC and Rashida Tlaib. Oh, yeah, the squad that have endorsed Biden. They've endorsed a rapist with dementia. So this is all political theater, because this is July 31st. Epstein had been arrested. He had just been denied bail, and I had already made the prediction they were going to kill him in prison, which was correct. August 8th, they unsealed the documents. August 9th, he hung himself with a paper t-shirt. That's what was going on back then. Yeah. So when she gets up there and grandstands saying the Republicans are bad, she won't call out the Republicans for also signing on to this. The Republican-controlled Senate and the democratically controlled Congress both gave Trump the highest military budget ever. AOC. We can't trust her. We can't trust the squad. We can't trust Bernie. We can't trust Tulsi. We can't trust anybody within the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party and the corporate media work for, boom, you guessed it, kids, the State Department. I've shown you this numerous times, but I want this ingrained in everybody's head and to all the new viewers. This is what's really going on. Look at that. USA Today. I showed you USA Today, didn't I, earlier? NBC News. Right? So they want you judging the MAGA hat wearing people that want to go back to work. Oh, they're dumb, they're idiots, they're going to give us all COVID. Whatever, have whatever opinion, but they don't want you talking about rent strikes. They don't want you, the LA Times is in there. That was an LA Times video, but it's not getting picked up. And again, you cannot reform the Democratic Party from within. Something is wrong with the economic system of our nation. Something is wrong with capitalism. Maybe America must move toward a democratic socialism. We must develop programs that will drive the nation to the realization of the need for a guaranteed annual income. Dr. King, 1966. A little less than 2 years later, they killed him. That's why you come here to get your news. Because they only run the I Have a Dream speech on the once a year. During MLK Day. They run the I Have a Dream speech. Great speech, inspirational. But they don't show this. They don't show Dr. King to all of his socialist speeches, all of his speeches against spending money on war, his poor people's campaign. They don't really talk about that. They just show you a little segment of it. Why? I told you why. They make sure that that's all you talk about. Because they control the media, so we need war to pay for all this. And when we're in a global pandemic and all the money in the stimulus goes to the banks, we need this operation to sell us some bullshit that this woman is fighting for us. No, she's not. It's obvious Mitch McConnell doesn't give a shit. Nancy Pelosi doesn't. She only cares about her walk-in fridge full of ice cream. She doesn't give a shit about us. This is fake progressive, fake give a concern. Bernie Sanders, sheep herded all of us. Oh, he's going to save the day. All of us to nosedive. Bernie Sanders could have started a third party 4 years ago, and we would have voted for it. He would probably be president. We'd have our first independent president in I don't know how many years. But they want to play ball within the system. That's why she's not on any progressive media. She's not doing independent media. She does The Hill, she does MSNBC, but she's not coming on this show. She's not going on Jimmy's show. She's not doing any of them. Because she's too busy playing ball with Pelosi and the military-industrial complex, which controls the media. Shave your knuckles for justice. Hey everybody, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification button and the subscribe button, even if you've done it before, because they're unsubscribing, many of you, every day. Watch the ads all the way through. If you click skip ad, I don't get paid. Also, support us at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. Rockfin.com is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. All my videos are on Rockfin ad-free. Thanks for watching.